Sarah can hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. Go.
Thank you, Zahra. All right, I'm going to call the meeting as we stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all so much for being here. Hopefully the mic is working a little bit better. We had some technical difficulties at our last meeting, but I think everything is good to go now. So first, we talked at our last board meeting about filling a vacancy with a past board member to fill the last couple months of the board seat that is open now, with the resignation of Nancy Deal. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to appoint past board member Joel Gearing to fill the vacancy on the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education, starting today, August 24th, until December 31st, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Is there any discussion? Deb, I'm going to ask that we go through roll call for this.
Chris?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Deborah? Yes. Heather?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion passes
Great,
unanimously.
thank you. Joel is here in the audience, and he's going to stand up, and Betsy is going to walk him through.
We're going to do the oath of office. We'll step over here. We'll sign this after we take the oath, and I will notarize it. So repeat after me, please. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education
the duties of office of the members of the Board of Education
of Williamston Community
of
Schools
Williamston Community Schools
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Congratulations, Joel, and welcome back.
I'll have to get my
Yes. Yes, you can grab your stuff and you can have a seat next to Deb. As a reminder, Joel is just filling in for the last couple months of Nancy's seat, so he will be, there's 5 meetings, I think, something like that. So thank you so much for graciously
Sign and print your
being
name
able
there.
and willing.
Pen's a little change.
Sure. You got it.
There we go. Let's do this. Now it collapsed completely. Yeah, it's broken.
Thank you.
All right, we're official now? Betsy, we're all good?
We are all
We're official, okay. Awesome. Again, welcome. We will move ahead with citizens. Are there any citizens in the audience that would like to address the board on agenda items can come to the podium now. All right, seeing none, we will move on to celebrations. Adam.
Good evening, board members. I'll start our celebrations just by acknowledging a successful opening of the 26-27 school year. Obviously, with any new opening, there's always a few bumps and obstacles, things to overcome, but I would say on the whole, the first 4 days with students have been very successful. A lot of happy kids, ready to be back at school, and I think we're off to a really strong start. I think a lot of optimism and positivity about the year to follow. Want to also credit, of course, the hard work of our staff in ensuring that the success that we've seen could be accomplished. You know, a lot of hard work that's gone on both starting last week and even in the days and weeks leading up to the start of the school year. I posted some photos. There is one website story, just some representative pictures of what last week looked like, starting with opening day and then progressing through the first days of class at the different buildings. And then kind of round out summer projects, and Brandon Weingartz will be here later to talk about non-bond funded projects, and I'll give an update on bond funded projects. Just that while there's always some final things that need to be wrapped up with all of those, I think by and large, everything that we needed to have completed in order to have students back and fully reopen the way we envisioned it was accomplished on time. So I know we had some close calls or some times where I was a little skeptical that that would be the case this summer, but it all worked out, and I think we're in good shape to continue with the year. Those are celebrations for this evening, unless there's any questions.
All right, seeing none, we will move on to Brandon to give us summer projects update.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I guess if you guys want to go to the first slide, this is a quick representation of, I guess, what we all completed this summer. Adam says there's a lot more done. I don't even remember. I really just a blur as the summer went by. I literally felt like last week we just had it was like a long weekend. With students being gone, teachers being gone. But some of the highlights. Parking lot maintenance. There's pictures at the middle school. We seal coated and crack sealed the middle school parking lot, and that's just to help preserve the investment that we put in 2 years ago with the parking lot, I think it was. And then the other picture on the right is we did the same thing, crack sealed and seal coated the parking lot at the bus garage. The bus garage parking lot, I think we redid in 2019. So again, this is just standard maintenance that kind of had been neglected, or not necessarily neglected, but just weren't able to capitalize opportunities with other projects going on in the past. So these are things I just hope we can continue to move on, continue to do every year. Control here. All right. The next one is sidewalk repair. We replaced, I think it's approximately 140 feet of concrete in front of the high school pool and fitness center, specifically kind of like over in the band room. And that was just, it's concrete that was most likely installed in 2006, 2007 during the addition of the competition gym at the high school. And we were able to take care of that while the parking lot was getting redone, just so that the asphalt continues to go. If we don't do the repair at the same time we're doing the parking lot, there'll be like a 3-foot strip you'll see of different asphalt along the sidewalk, just because that concrete does go a little deeper into the ground. It's not just sitting on top of the ground there. High school restrooms, we upgraded the partitions and the flooring at the commons, boys and girls restrooms, and then also in the dome, boys and girls restrooms. And again, those were just, they're old steel partitions. Doors have been ripped off, hardware been ripped off, dented, and we've been patching those together for the last couple of years. And I believe it was a civics class this year. They digged us pretty good on those, but we kind of already had this in the works to do so. Similar, same product that we used in the middle school the last couple of years, same product we put out in the softball restrooms also. So we're just kind of taking that standard look across the district now. Middle school E2 renovation. So this back at some point used to be the home ec room, and then a couple years ago was the special ed room. Adam Supanowski, Deb LaFleur last year kind of got me going on this and kind of steered the direction for this one. But a photo on the left is what it used to look like. Old 1960, 1970 kitchen cabinets. Then we updated, so we have the epoxy floor like we have in the cafeteria and the hallway here at the middle school. And then we put the carpeting in that we have also put in through bond work at the middle school and high school this summer. There's also some other cabinets to go in there for a kitchenette. This classroom, old classroom, is going to be utilized for like professional development for teachers, monthly meetings, for staff at the middle school. Middle school clothing closet. This was middle school. They received a grant from the school foundation. Before, this room was utilized from the district nurse and the SRO officer, and it was also just kind of like an overflow for storage for extra books, any extra snacks, any extra clothing is kind of in there. But they put together with Menards, they got these cabinets designed to put in there in the space, and this was the room kind of still being put together a week or two ago. But we have organized in there for students to go in. Okay, if students don't have the opportunity to go to the store and purchase clothing or need something, it's here, kind of a store setting for them. The track painting, the track was resurfaced. I believe that was also in around 2012. I think that was one of those fun COVID projects we tried to work on, or tried to get contractors here to work when they weren't allowed to be here or were supposed to be here, but was trying to get people to here before we couldn't spend the money anymore. So the track was last painted, resurfaced, repainted in 2020. So track was resurfaced, or just repainted. Looks really nice. If you guys haven't been down there, or have to go down there for the football game next, JV's this week and varsity's next week, but the track looks really nice now. When the pool was closed for air handling renovations, we had a contractor come in and clean the pool deck, clean the locker rooms, scrub all the tiles. To my knowledge, this has not been done before. It looks better in some spots. Some spots it doesn't look better, just full disclosure. I believe some of it's just because it's 20-year-old tile that's been having water, chlorine sit on it. But when they got done, I walked it and you definitely, like, hey, it smells clean in there, it feels clean in there. So it feels better in there, I'll say. Athletic signage, Paige Paulson, he just had some sign stuff that he wanted to do, so there's just a couple pictures. The photo on the left is the new tennis shed that was purchased last year, and then on the right, the soccer field. We replaced an old worn out sign that was state champions on there. Also, I didn't get the picture in time, but we did put, there is a new sign that's underneath the scoreboard down on the football field and the track down there too now. This is the boring picture, but this is we just updated some cameras, specifically at the high school. I think we had 7 high school cameras. They're old, grainy, and if you really looked at them, it's like, hey, yep, you could see that there was an individual walking in the hall, but you couldn't really see anything else. So we replaced some with the interior, some with the exterior. So those are nice. We added a camera at the elementary campus. That's out on like the Young 5 preschool garden. Just students being there now, we'll be able to see them better. And then in a year from now, when the new drive goes through there, we'll also have good eyes on that drive. Bus garage cameras were also updated, so they were on 2 separate softwares when we updated our camera software 2 years ago. So the bus garage cameras were separate, so now it's all on the same software, so anyone can see what's happening at the bus garage cameras as they would in the school. That was the 10 weeks in a nutshell. Any questions?
I do. That's a lot to do. Remind us how many people are on your staff that help. I know you had, what, 2 students helping out?
I did not have any student helpers this year. So I had I think it's 14 maintenance custodial. And I mean, like those guys, really, hey, they're focusing on guys and girls. They're focusing on getting the classrooms clean, but they're also helping get the contractors in the building and moving furniture out of the classrooms for the carpet to go on, for the bond work.
Yeah.
There's others with bond work that they help out a lot with too. But yeah, there's 14 of them.
Yeah.
I also had a parapro at the high school. I had a bus driver here helping at the middle school. I had 2 bus drivers helping at the elementary school. So Yeah, we had like 17, 18 people-ish.
Yeah, I think that our district gets the most done with the least amount within AM County. I really, truly think so. Can you also?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even an all-inclusive
Yeah.
list, and, you know, the superintendent is here all summer putting in like 6 or 7 help desk tickets every week for other things that Brandon didn't bring up. So, yeah, it's impressive, and it really stems from Brandon's leadership and the fact that he's dedicated to getting all these things done. I always say that's like the difference here, right? And a lot of districts, folks will walk by something that's broken and just keep walking, and in our district, someone walks by and it gets fixed. So when you have those things up over time, it makes a huge difference.
Thank you. And there's a lot of times where we see like, hey, like Adam might see something, or teachers might see something, and like, we see it too, but it's like, all right, like, hey, we don't have time to fix this something now. This is like, hey, we can take care of this on, you know, fall break or winter break
Yeah.
type of thing. So we're like, hey, we can't really take care of this stuff the right way right now. Like when we have an hour or two before school starts, or same thing, maybe staff can't do it after school gets out. But yeah, we see things and we try to get them done in a timely manner, but sometimes our time constraints.
But also, I was at that civics event in the spring, and when the students brought up the bathroom at the high school, they immediately said, but I know that there's so much that they do. And so they realized that, yes, there's this long list of things that you do, but also they're like, but could the, and you took that, and we already knew that it was gonna get done, but I just want you to know that even students notice how well maintained our facilities are.
Thank you.
Anything else for Brandon? Please tell everyone, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Our facilities always look good.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right, superintendent's report, Adam.
All right, just a quick fun one to start with, since it was brought up at the last meeting. So an update on the coffee bar, which I know everyone's been eagerly waiting to hear more news about. As I mentioned, this has been something that I've been trying to figure out for a long time. Today they actually started, today. They had free samples today, 6-ounce coffee samples. So they're doing some market research here to see. And just like any other group of adolescents, nobody was trying it. Then one student did it, and then a whole bunch of other students were like, "Where'd you get that?" And then a whole bunch of other students got it. And so
Were you one
the
of them,
typical
too?
way.
Did you-
Had I been there, I would have. I will definitely try to get over there once this gets rolling. For me, it's competition with the Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know. There's a lot of choices now. Tomorrow they're going to be doing samples of iced coffee, see what the response is to that, and then later on they're going to do some experiments with lattes. Ultimately, the goal is to move it up to a 12-ounce serving, and then they're going to do some experiments with the different syrups that students can put in. So I think they've had vanilla and caramel, and then they're going to move on to like chocolate or some other stuff. I don't know. So anyway, it's moving along, and obviously the complication is making sure that all those things stay within the numerous nutrition and health guidelines that we're required to follow. So far, so good, and really glad to see Wendy Gladhill's taking that on, our assistant food service director, and she's doing a nice job with getting some momentum going there. All right, other items. On the 14th of September is our next regular board meeting. I've asked Chris and Company to come in and do a update there, so I'll get that 100% nailed down soon, but that's what I anticipate the ed update will be. I know you hear bond updates from me, but I think it might be good to have them come in and kind of give a more nuanced explanation of where things are at around the district with the different projects. Moving on to chain of command, as you know, every year we put into place a hierarchy, so to speak, of who's going to be running the district should I not be available for whatever reason. I think this has always been a good thing to have in place. There's been times where we've kind of joked and said we won't never need it, and then we needed it. So for varying durations of time. So this year, I've selected Chris Armour to be the point person in the event that I cannot be for a number of different reasons. My largest fear always is that I check the weather before I go to bed, and then I decide to sleep in just a touch, and I wake up and there's 6 feet of snow, and every school district in the county's canceled, and except Williamston, because I'm asleep. So trying to empower somebody else that can make those decisions or any other type of decision if I'm not around. Chris is actually our senior administrator, although I think sometimes we forget that because he started in an intern capacity during COVID, and then so he's actually got a little bit leg up, just a few months on our next senior administrator. But more importantly, he knows the district, knows the community, lives in town, and I think he'll be a good choice for that role. All right, professional development. You have the agendas, and there's some universal, so I'll just hit the highlights. But a couple of things I wanted to just highlight in terms of like all districts or all schools in the district. This year, we're really trying to put an effort with the administrators into thinking strategically about how they plan professional development with a differentiated mindset. So kind of thinking about it, how a teacher would start building a lesson plan and looking at how to differentiate their instruction to meet the needs of all their learners in their class. We're trying to take that same approach with how administrators build professional development for staff. So it is a baby steps effort, and we're kind of taking the first couple options into it, but I think you can see from the agendas how much more nuanced and complex they've become, where it's not just, well, teachers came in and did blank for 3 hours. Now it's all broken down by the type of staff, even amongst teachers, breaking out to different sessions in their buildings depending on what the focus areas are, to ensure those most relevant to that group of people. And like I said, we're just kind of getting started in that philosophy, but that's a challenge based on some literature we reviewed as a leadership team in the spring that I've given to the principals in terms of how they build PD. And then just like every year at the beginning of the year, you'll see a focus on safety and medical procedures, so that's embedded throughout all the schools. And then I think another thing that you'll see this year, and this has been something we've started over the last couple of years, is a really intentional focus around special education in terms of how we develop professional development, not just for teachers, but any other staff interacting with that student population to take advantage of these professional development opportunities. So just get a couple highlights from each of the buildings. The preschool continue to focus on implementing the pyramid model. That's the preschool version of SEL, social emotional learning, and PBIS that we'll hear often in the K-12 setting. So positive behavior interventions and supports, PBIS. So that's kind of like their version of that. And they do a nice job of collaborating with the ISD to ensure those professional development opportunities are well structured. Discovery has continued to work on something they started in the spring and actually worked with their leadership team over the summer and trying to figure out how to best utilize the responsible thinking classroom in the context of an early elementary. I can tell you from being on the pilot team of RTC back in 2003, 4-ish, that that is like 2 decades of trying to figure out the answer to that. So this latest iteration is not the first time. And, but the good news is, just like all of our other structures, we just don't throw it out. We look at it and we try to improve it and make it as applicable as we can in the current context. They also continue to work on the Reveal math curriculum, in which they are in their 2nd year of adoption. Moving over to Explore, again, I'll just highlight that new curriculum focus with Bookworms now I think in their 3rd year, and Reveal math in their 2nd year, and obviously a lot of other areas of focus, but just wanted to highlight those two and remind the board that anytime you adopt a new curriculum, especially as an elementary school where all of your core classroom teachers are teaching it, that is a major initiative, and the fact that they got 2 of those plus all the other things, that is a very ambitious approach to their school improvement plan. The middle school, kind of several kind of really interesting topics. One, trying to get teachers acclimated to the new Surface Pro devices, and obviously some teacher leaders have been instrumental in that, but a really invaluable new tool that has a lot of opportunity given the other things that are complementing it in the classroom, new projectors, new screens, new flooring, new furniture, to really enhance those modular classrooms that remove the traditional single point of instruction from secondary classes, which has been around for a long time, well over a century. AI policy integration, I actually got to sit in on some of that, and that's really interesting and really forcing some folks to think differently about how to intentionally construct their syllabus and some of their assessments and instruction, understanding that AI is there, and then trying to frame that within the context of the policy that the board passed last year and some of the models that are embedded within the board's policy that kind of outline what best practice looks like for teachers when they're setting that up. And then one of the other pieces that came up in the spring from our teaching staff was intentional professional development around the push-in model for special education. So this is the concept where you have a general education teacher and a special education teacher in the same room at the same time, supporting supporting special education and general education students in that setting. So this was something we've been kind of leaning into at the high school, but this year again we're trying to be intentional around providing PD to show to staff what does best practice look like, and hopefully maybe even standardize some aspects of that approach. Moving over to high school, again, some similar concepts in terms of the Surface Pro training and AI implementation, again within the context of the new policy and the high school's goal to turn off the AI filters on the student devices and on the network there at the end of the first semester. So there was a lot about PD. Any questions there? All right. I was ready for someone to ask me about the 2 hours spent on family-style meals at the preschool, but nobody did, so, all right, because I had an answer. All right, then moving on to bond updates. So softball, one of the things, there's been some loose ends with softball that we've been trying to continue to clean up. Some things that most people won't know, but if you go in some of the rooms, the dugouts and the press box, coach's room, the ceiling has some gaps in it that we want to address, so it's not quite right. So we're going to try to get that accomplished here in the near future. The hot water heater is still on order, but we're hoping to have that installed soon. But that also takes like reworking some of the plumbing and things like that. Just quick backdrop, the wrong size heater was ordered, not by us, but that's why we weren't able to install it in the spring. So now that we got the right size heater, some of the plumbing needs to be reworked so that it'll work in the concession stand area. And last but most importantly, the drainage at softball is still not 100% correct, and that was the whole point of doing that project. So we're kind of being sticklers about getting this right. The area that we're most focused on is right outside of the home dugout. There's a section there that consistently pools. I went out to check throughout the summer every time it would rain and go out there the next day. We were having the same issue. So that work is going to start here before the weather turns, but it's going to involve some excavating and then putting in some additional drainage right there in front and behind of the home dugout. So the goal is to have that corrected before the girls start practice in the spring. The high school parking lot is, for all intents and purposes, complete. I think it looks really good. There's if you go to the YouTube page at some point, there's a new drone video, aerial footage of the high school from that perspective. And I talked about this a little at opening day from a still shot, but even at the drone footage circling over, it just looks, the building just looks, from that perspective, just completely different and much improved. Flooring, I would say, is mostly done. We're still spot checking some things, and there's one area which I can talk to you offline about, which was a significant part of the flooring project that is still kind of debatable as to whether it got done the way we wanted it to. So that conversation continues with our partners in terms of that. Pool HVAC, as you know, the pool is open and we have temporary occupancy. The remaining issue doesn't have anything actually to do with the HVAC system itself, but it has to do with how the fans or vent that protrudes out of the ceiling of the pool would be serviced. So there's a requirement to build some type of scaffolding around that, so when it's serviced, folks are standing up above it in a safe and appropriate way. So working on designs for what that might include, but it doesn't involve the functionality of the system that was installed. And then Explore, always subject to change, but the last update that was received on Friday was that foundations are expected to be completed on Thursday, which is good. The natural gas changeover, which has been a major issue since the spring, involving consumers, putting in a new natural gas line because the old one runs in conflict with the construction zone. That switchover will take place on September 4th, which is a no-school day, and there won't be any hot water on the campus that day while that occurs. And then, once that's done, they are gonna double the mason crew that's out there to move the masonry work forward more rapidly. They're kind of slow rolling it right now because they don't wanna overtake the foundation work that's taking place. So while there are walls going up, it's kind of a, intentional jog. And then once the foundations are completed and out of the way, then that'll start to move along fairly rapidly. Simultaneously to all that, the drainage is being installed. So you had, actually, I think last week at the end of the week, there were like 3 or 4 separate projects going on between foundations, mason, drainage, natural gas lines. So, I mean, there was a lot going on out there. But the good news is it's progressing pretty rapidly at this point, and weather permitting, I think that will continue into the near future. So those are updates on the bond for this evening. Any questions I can address with that work?
Is there like a timeline for getting the walls up? Like, are they hoping before first freeze or anything like that, so they can be doing the work on the inside?
So their goal is to have the building like enclosed before the weather turns. So that would include like the cement slab, the roof, all that. So everything's basically pushed inside. And then what they've been telling the teachers is that once that takes place, like you won't even see them anymore until the spring. So they'll all just be inside working on doing the inside work. And I think in some ways it'll replicate what we saw actually out here with softball, where during this time of the year it was all the outside stuff, and then once the weather turned, they all went inside, and you wouldn't even have known there was construction going on because they were all indoors. And then when the spring came, the inside was completed, and so I think it'll look like that, just on a larger scale.
So work is still being done. It'll just be inside. There won't be a lot of trucks.
Yeah, less trucks, less beeping. They'll get the dewatering generators out of there, and I think it'll.
So I had a question from a citizen that they wondered if the road that the parents are going to be using, if that's going to be completed anytime soon, if that will be used at all, or are they going to put a hold on that till further construction or something?
So the road should be completed for the opening of school next year. So that's the intent, that the K-5 classrooms and the road are open for use. So, but it won't be before that. That's what they were asking.
Right.
Yeah, they can't open it any quicker. They can't actually even start work on the, what would that be? The western half, the western segment of the road, because until school gets out for the summer, because if they did, there wouldn't be any place to park for the staff. So they can kind of do the part inside the construction zone, but then once summer hits, they can move over to the section that's currently outside of the construction zone and get that ready. The only exception to that would be the yellow house will come down sometime winter, spring, so they can kind of do some of the prep work for that. But the road itself will be a summer project.
How about the greenhouse?
That'll happen at the same time as the yellow house, which is currently the plan. So they'll just get it all done at once. And the garage, such as it is behind
It's
the
going on
greenhouse.
its own.
It is going on its own, but we're going to kind of give it a nudge and see what happens.
Relocate the raccoons.
Yeah.
The records have been relocated. There's been a lot of stuff pulled out of that house. So yeah.
Yeah, so we just have to hope for good weather so that they can continue doing all the work outside. So hopefully the fall will be less rain, more sunshine, so they can get lots of work done. I did have a question about the professional development. It was jam-packed this year because staff started on a Monday and then school started on a Wednesday. Has there been any, teachers didn't have a lot of like teacher work time in their classrooms. Has there been any discussion around that or pushback?
Well, I think we were clear that, when we adopted that new approach to the school year, that the first 2 days were going to be, business that
Yeah.
needed to be attended to at the
Professional
building
development,
and
yeah.
at the district level. And so that was the case. But I was, encouraged that, and principals are always looking out for their staff, and like, so one of the things they did was, create choices for teachers. So for example, they set aside time for the vector training. So that's like all the stuff you have to do, sexual harassment, bloodborne pathogens, things like that. So staff could have used that time to sit there and watch the videos, or they could have done that another time and then spent that time doing their classwork, right? So I mean, there was some flexibility depending on how you structured your time. Yeah, intentionally, there was a full week. I think everybody was pretty ready for the weekend this past weekend.
Yeah,
So,
I was
a lot
at
going on.
open house at Discovery and here at the middle school on both nights, and it's always organized chaos, but
Yeah.
teachers and staff were greeting everyone and excited and all
Yeah,
everything's-
well-attended open houses. High school one was really, really good. A lot of people there with the new format where you follow the bell schedule, so that was good to see. Obviously, mostly freshmen, sophomore, but I mean, still,
Yeah.
I mean, much more highly attended than it was just a few years ago, so that was good to see as well.
Any other questions for Adam? Okay, we do not have any board committee reports. However, there is a finance meeting that is scheduled, so finance members, remember that date, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but Adam has sent out reminders, so look out for that coming up October, it's a
It's the
Tuesday.
13th, I think.
Thank you. All right, discussion items, District Professional Development Advisory Committee.
All right, so speaking of kind of the new approach to the school year, one of the significant changes was the reduction in instructional days in the new WEA contract that reduced number of instructional days from 182 to 180. That has had some significant implications as far as the bureaucracy around pupil accounting, which is a district level issue that we're working through. But suffice it to say, there's a lot more boxes that need to be checked now than there was when we had those additional buffer days, so to speak, from a pupil accounting standpoint. One of the implications is that now there's, in addition to the reduction of instructional days, there's also 5 full days of professional development that we are intending to count per the contract and the calendar towards the minimum of 180 instructional days that students need to be at school a year. Those 5 days of professional development that are going to count towards as a day of instruction have a lot of criteria that need to be followed. And we have received word that the state does intend to audit this year, so we're making sure we have all our I's dotted and T's crossed. One of the requirements for those days to be counted, those 5 days that students are not here, but staff are engaged in professional development throughout the full day towards that 180-day minimum, is that we have a District Professional Development Advisory Committee that needs to be approved by the board. And the responsibility of that committee is to recommend at least 8 hours of countable professional development in each of the schools for that school year. So what we are doing this evening is bringing forth a proposal for the advisory committee so that the members of that can be board approved and they can move forward with making their recommendations of the 8 countable hours of professional development. So those 5 full days of professional development can count as instructional days, again, towards the 180-day minimum that students need to be at school.
Can this go on for action at the next meeting? Or does it need to be done right away? Okay.
Yeah, the committee is anticipating your approval, and I think we're meeting Wednesday this week, so we're going to kind of get started on it, but
But it can wait for official.
yeah, that's fine.
Any other questions? Okay, next is virtual remote learning day for seniors, and I think that there's a lot of context that needs to be.
Yeah, this is the same issue. So, I mean, again, those losing those buffer days, when you look at it from a pupil accounting standpoint, has added quite a bit of bureaucracy that we need to ensure that we're aware of. So another issue that has come up is Traditionally, in April, when most of the high school is taking state standardized tests, the high school seniors do not attend classes on that day. And that was okay because we had that buffer. We no longer have that buffer, and so now if the high school seniors did not attend school on that day, they'd be at 179 days of school. And remember, the minimum is 180. So they need to have an opportunity to partake in an educational experience that day in each of their hours in order for it to count as a day of instruction. So this also needs to be board approved, which is why we're bringing it to you. So the preferred option here is that that day, which will be April 13th this year, the seniors attend a full day of classes that are remote and done in an asynchronous manner. So just a quick flashback to COVID. Try not to, take that too hard. But asynchronous is essentially that while the teacher needs to be available for support, it's not in real time. So teachers can use their Google Classrooms or any other online learning module for students so that they can partake in some type of learning experience during that day for their class, but it doesn't mean a teacher needs to be there on camera presenting it live. That will allow the seniors then to be at school for 180 days instead of 179, and make sure that that meets the state minimum requirements for instruction. There is another option that the seniors could go to school on that day, but with a lot of our teachers proctoring those assessments and the schedule kind of being atypical, we think that would be a significant challenge to have seniors in school with a certified teacher while all that other stuff is going on. So if the options available, we thought this was the best approach.
So Adam, what percentage of those seniors do you need actually participating in remote learning for it to count?
So you always need, as a district, regardless of what grade you're in or what school you attend, you need 75% attendance for the day to count, other than if you're making up days at the end of the year that have been added, and then I think it's 60%. So, so you would need 75% attendance, seniors plus all the other students combined, which in Williamston is not typically an issue. I mean, our attendance, as you've seen in the past, is quite good.
So are there any requirements around what attendance looks like?
Yeah, so the attendance requirements for this are, I guess I'll phrase it as a little bit fluid. It doesn't necessarily need to look like traditional attendance where, because it's asynchronous, the teacher is sitting there, calling kids' names and then on PowerSchool checking them present, right? So attendance can be, evidence that the student participated in whatever that is. So they might have to go in and, watch a video on a particular topic, and then there's like a quick check on learning at the end. Or there might be some passages to read for preloading a lesson that'll take place the next day. So, so it can be evidence that the student engaged in asynchronous activity would suffice for attendance. It's not going to look like a traditional day's attendance when the kids are in school.
Any questions for Adam?
How does this affect like dual enrollment students? Do they just not have that hour to worry about, just like regular school? Or?
Well, dual enrollment, Wilson Town Center, they kind of run on their own
Okay.
separate process. So like I think Wilson Town Center started, I don't remember if it started this week, but like last week for sure they weren't in class yet. So their days looked a little different
Okay.
at the high school.
All right, these will be on for the next meeting under action, both the District Professional Development Advisory Committee and the Virtual Remote Learning Day for seniors. So if you do have questions, please ask Adam before our next meeting. Okay, moving on to action items. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held on August 10th, 2026?
Move that the Williamston Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on August 10th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. We have one roll call item. Can I get a motion to approve the 2026-2027 winter property tax?
Make a motion that the Williamston Board of Education hereby certifies the following tax levies for 2026 winter property tax collections, and that the Secretary and President of the Board of Education may sign the final certification of taxes for all taxing units for collection within the townships of Alladin, Leroy, Locke, Wheatfield, and Williamstown. 18.1 mils for the general operations non-homestead only, 1.98 mils for the 2024 debt, 1.24 mils for the 2015 refinancing, 3.79 mils for the 2019 school bond loan fund refinancing, 0.83 mils for the 2021 school bond loan fund financing, 0.7283 mils for the recreation fund, 0.9775 mils for the sinking fund. For the collection within the township of Meridian and the city of Williamston, 9.0 mils for the general operation non-homestead only, 0.99 mils for the 2024 debt, 0.62 mils for the 2015 refinancing, 1.89 mils for the 2019 school bond loan fund refinancing, 0.415 mils for the 2021 school bond loan fund financing, 0.3642 mils for the recreation fund, 0.4888 mils for the sinking fund.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? Please take us through roll call, Deb.
Chris?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Deborah, yes. Heather?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, separate action items. Can I get a motion to approve price increase for adult meals?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the price increase for adult meals as proposed.
Second.
Motion by Amanda, second by Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion for board policies to add?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education add the following policies: 8745, student identification cards, WCS gifts and donation form, July policy review, school-owned instrument contract as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve board policies to revise?
I move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education revise the following policies: 1300 Board of Education meetings, 2310 residency requirements, 4770 construction bidding, 7210 extracurricular activities, 9730 booster clubs, PTOs, and other support groups, and Chromebook and carrying case loan agreement.
Second.
Motion by Deb, second by Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve board policies to rewrite?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education rewrite the following policies: 3405, electronic transfer of funds and automated clearinghouse arrangements.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve board policies to vacate?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools vacate the following policies: 5040 anti-harassment, 8010 non-discrimination, anti-harassment and non-retaliation, 8010A definitions for 8010A series, 8010B designation of coordinators, 8010C supportive measures, 8010D informal resolution, 8010E grievance procedures and remedies, 8010F compliant dismissal and appeals, 8010F-1 discrimination retaliation complaint form, 8010F-2 notification of non-discrimination, 8010G additional requirements to prevent and address pregnancy discrimination, 8010H training requirements, record keeping and policy notice, 8012 unlawful discrimination, harassment, and retaliation against students.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Amanda. Any discussion? Just a reminder that these are policies that we needed to have on the books, but were not enacted by state or by federal law, and that's why we are vacating them. All right, motion by Chris, second by Amanda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Please review board goals. And we do have some correspondence. Adam, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, again, the longer you stay in the role, or within a position in an organization, you get to see people that you've looked up to and admired, and they retire, and it's always kind of a thing. So another example, this evening, Pam Daniels has announced her retirement. I think most people recognize Pam from her outstanding work as the MTSS coordinator at Explorer Elementary, but before that, roughly half her career here, she was an outstanding teacher at Discovery Elementary. In fact, long time ago, Pam and I actually partnered up, I think my first year in the district. Her Discovery students and my Explorer students, they were buddy classrooms moving back and forth between the two buildings, and so that's how I got to know Pam as an educator a long time ago. I'll take some credit for this. I made a really good hire back when I was a principal at Explorer, and brought her in for the MTSS coordinator position, and she has just excelled in that, made just incredible outcomes that we've seen in student learning during time in that role, and her ability to take what she knew and expand that throughout all the staff there, the what I need or when paras, and just a profound impact. And when we talk about MTSS being one of the core foundational reasons for our success, Pam has been instrumental in seeing that philosophy grow and thrive during her time in that role. I also want to point out that during some very challenging periods in our not too distant history, Pam graciously stepped into interim principal role at Explorer on more than one occasion, and was just outstanding in that position as well. So an outstanding representative of the Williamston way, I think, in every regard. And it's been a privilege to have the opportunity to work with her for as long as I have. And she's given us one more good year, though. So that's a good thing for our staff and for our students. So congratulations to Pam. Very, very happy for her.
Absolutely. All right, this is the second opportunity for any citizens that would like to address the board can come to the podium. All right, seeing none. Do we have any board member reports or requests? Okay, hearing none.
I'll keep you updated on the coffee.
Yes, please. It's very, very important. All right, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Heather, second by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you all so much.